All right, see, I was about to go ahead and comment on this video, and then I decided, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and make a video on it instead. So the rideshare guy says, Lyft says hit X for faster rides. Here's why you shouldn't do it. Should not. So basically, they're saying, don't hit the X button and everything. I'm gonna tell you right now why I don't really agree to this video. Number one, he's not explaining everything the right way. One of the reasons why they want you to hit the X button a lot quicker is because they already wrote into the algorithm that the price, the payout for the ride has to go up every so many seconds and or minutes. So if drivers are declining the ride, the algorithm is automatically going to start offering more money. So for an example, let's just say the payout goes up every 15 seconds. No, you know what? Let's just say the payout goes up every 25 seconds and it goes up by 15 cents. So in 1 minute's time, how much money would Lyft actually lose? So per minute, Lyft would actually lose 30 cents per minute. So in 15 minutes, no, let me back that up. Okay, so this is what I was going to write in the comments, basically, which is that it goes up every 25 seconds by 15 cents. And so Lyft is losing 30 cents per minute. So in 4 minutes, Lyft would lose $1.20 because the payout for the ride would go up. It would increase based off of the time frame. So now you understand why they want you to hit the X, because they already wrote it into the algorithm that the price is supposed to go up on the ride every so many seconds. Now, this is not, now what I'm saying is not accurate on the end of how many seconds does it take before the payout goes up. Two reasons why the payout goes up. Number one would be because how long the customer has been waiting. They want to decrease that wait time. So they have to make sure that the payout is going up and that drivers will accept it within that first minute to 2 minutes, because the longer the customer waits, the more likely they are to go on one of the competitive sites. That part he did get right. But as far as what he's saying, I can't necessarily agree, because I know that the main reason why they want you to hit the X button is because the algorithm will send the payout to be higher. And again, in 4 minutes, that's $1.20 loss. So imagine somebody waiting 8 minutes. That's $2.40. They want to reduce that payout by getting drivers to accept the ride a lot quicker. And so filtering through 6 or 8 or 10 drivers under a minute will keep that cost down. But when it exceeds that minute, it's going to keep on raising that cost to them up. Another thing is that so you have two reasons why the price goes up and what a payout. And that is how long the customer's been waiting and how many times drivers have declined that ride. So again, I don't know the actual numbers as far as how much it's going to increase in that amount of time, or by the time itself, and by the different types of drivers that are declining the ride. So the goal is to get the customer to ride quickly as possible so that they know that they can rely on it. Now, another factor is that Lyft wants more rides to be created. So again, they need to get you picking somebody up. That's number one. Number two, another reason why they started charging people on wait time, and I complained about it ever since I started driving for Lyft. And the reason why they want to get people to start paying for wait time is not so that they can make more money. It's not so drivers can make more money. They want people to pay for wait time so people will start being ready at pickup. When you place the ride, you already are dressed. You already know where your keys and your coat is and your shoes and your socks are and everything. And hopefully they're on your body, because even though you hit the wait and save button, there may be a driver that's down the street from you who is declining rides. So that wait and save, you're thinking the driver isn't going to get there for 15 minutes, but the driver down the street keeps declining rides. And so now the driver is going to show up in 2 minutes or 1 minute. So again, this is to make sure that the customers have more faith in the company and they know that there's more accuracy into when they request a ride. And they also had to come back this due to the fact that they are charging people for wait time. So That is the main thing that people have to really consider, is that because they're charging people for wait time, customers are going to complain about how long it's taking for them to get a ride. And they're going to complain about the accuracy of the quoted arrival time, meaning the customer hit the wait and save. I mean, not the wait and save, but they hit the priority ride and they expected to get a ride in 2 minutes, but now it's taking 4 minutes. They want to also minimize how many times people are, well, maximize how many times people are hitting that button for the priority ride. They want to increase that. So less people are going to create a ticket for the priority ride if they notice that they're not getting rides as quickly as they wanted to. But that also has a lot to do with Lyft. You're charging people extra for priority ride, but you're not paying it to the driver. And when you send out the ride request the first few times in the first place, you're setting it down with a low payout, especially the more drivers that are around the customer, meaning that 4 drivers are actually 2 minutes away. So you're not going to offer none of those drivers a higher payout, but you're going to have to recycle it through at a higher payout because because you got to get the driver there fast as possible. And so if you're somebody picked the priority and the 4 drivers near the customer reject it, you don't want to pull a driver that's 10 minutes away. You need one of those 4 drivers to be there. But instead of offering the max amount as you should, you're offering less money. So those people eventually are going to stop hitting priority ride. So hopefully people understand the truth on why they're hitting the X button. This has to do with those 2 reasons, which is the price, the payout for the ride will increase after so many seconds and or minutes, and it's going to increase based off of the passenger's wait time. So if they stop hitting that X button and they let the timer run out, all you're doing is prolonging the total payout for that ride. If you stop hitting the X button and you wait those 20 seconds, 30 seconds, whatever time frame that they're giving you, because it could differ based off how many drivers are online and whether the customer hit the priority ride or not. If you stop hitting the X button and you wait that time out, you're just making it longer for the payout to increase on that ride. So that makes absolutely no sense at all. And it's preferable that this guy takes a look at the actual data and understand how things really work. And, when you read the comments and everything, you see nobody saying anything that I'm saying. And they're all just agreeing, just pay us more money, and they're saying other stuff, whatever, but they're not really pinpointing why we actually should be hitting the X button, and that this is really making it a lot easier for us as drivers to hit the X button versus waiting those 15, 30 seconds. And think about it as a driver. Why would you want to wait until that time runs out? That's prolonging you and giving you more wait time each day between rides. So that's messing with your money. And it's like he made this video just to mess with people, because that's what's going to end up happening. Imagine it. And wait, here's the thing. Imagine doing that throughout the day, 10 hours or 12 hours, just waiting till the timer blows up. You end up losing a significant amount of time that you're not getting paid for because you're not accepting those rides. Granted, they are trash offers, but you're not giving yourself wiggle room for good offers to come through. So now, I'm not going to do the actual math, but I'm going to say this. Maybe you're losing about an hour a day. An hour a day because you're not hitting the X button and you're sitting here waiting till the timer runs out. So that actually kills you as a driver versus being profitable to you. You're not going to program the algorithm. The algorithm is already programmed. You've already been driving for Lyft. Lyft already has the data on you. They know what rides you want. They know that nobody wants to take a $3 or $4 ride. They want $5 or more. They already know this. And most drivers, they want $10 or more. They already know this. They already have the data. But a ride is still being sent to you. So if they have the data and they're still sending you the ride, that data doesn't, what you want doesn't matter. The algorithm is meant to send you the ride based off of how much money you've already made that particular hour. And that's why they're not going to try to send you rides that, there are plenty of drivers that they only drive in the downtown area. Why is it that the algorithm still sends you rides that take you outside the downtown area, even though you never have taken a ride outside the downtown area because you're driving a black SUV or whatever your reason is? But the reason why they're still sending you those rides is because you're close to the customer. Even though you already have a preset amount set in your head or a certain area set in your head, you're still getting bombarded with these offers that are going places that you don't want to go. If you don't want to leave a city area, doesn't matter. The algorithm is still sending it to you. And it's because the algorithm based what they're going to pay you based off of how much you already made that hour. And also, your tip is included. So let's just say you took a ride and you paid $5, somebody tipped you 10, or you were paid 10 and somebody tipped you 5. You made 15. It's, let's just say 10:13, which is the actual time right now, 10:13 p.m. And you already made, say, $15, but that hour only pays out 15. You're not likely to get ride requests, but if you do get ride requests, it's going to be ride requests that they know that you're not going to take because they're trying to cap you off at 15, especially if you have a congested market full of drivers. So their thing is that they're trying to make sure drivers are inside of that $15 cap. Same thing at a different time. It may be a $20 cap. It may be a $30 cap. And it's what they're sending you is based off of how much money you already made. They want to make sure that you don't make too much money too quickly and that you stay online as long as possible. So even if they know that you normally want to make $300 in a day, and you could probably make that 300 in 10 hours, they are not going to allow you to make that 300 in 8 hours. They're not going to do that. That's the same reason why you see a lot of these trips that people post up, where the ride is going to a whole different state, 100 miles, 200 miles, but they're only paying $80 or $60. It's because the algorithm is basing it off of an hourly wage, not based off of the miles. And so if it's really busy out and there's not enough drivers, you're going to see a higher payout for that ride due to the fact that the algorithm is kind of more sporadic at that point. It's just trying to get those rides fulfilled, especially if people are booking rides and paying more money than usual. So a lot of this stuff, man, drivers just don't really talk about, how things really, really work. If they did, you guys would have paid attention to a video that I made a while ago based off of how to make the algorithm pay you more money. In order for you to get paid more money, all drivers got to start going offline. I used to tell people that at the airport, like it's too many drivers online. If drivers went offline, we'd see a surge over here because the algorithm is going to be like, oh, we don't have enough drivers and we have at least 100 riders getting off the plane right now. And so instead of showing a normal bonus because they know that they have enough drivers, well, they're not going to show a bonus because they have enough drivers. If the drivers went offline, then we would see $10, $15 bonuses at that airport. It's the same thing when you're driving around the city. Too many drivers online, we're going to see less bonuses and less payout and everything. So even with you in the airport, you'd have to get together with all of the Lyft drivers and say, hey, everybody got to go offline. Everybody with the last name from A all the way up until, C or D or E or F can go online, when the planes drop. And not drops, God forbid that happens, but, when the planes land, X amount, these drivers over here have to go offline. This is going to cause the surge to happen. And then as drivers start to accept rides, we're going to let other drivers start going online. If you operated the stuff like that, then you'd see better paying rides. However, it's hard because we can't communicate to people, especially, not in neighborhoods around the city. And Drivers don't want to communicate when they're at the airport. So you all can do whatever you want to do. I'm basically saying that if you want to make your money, then hit the X button. Just hit the stupid X button. Decline the ride. And even when you're doing that, you're not teaching the algorithm anything. Okay, you're just making sure that your next ride can come in a lot quicker. Okay, I think that some of these videos, the way that these drivers be talking, it makes it sound like they're trying to. Their end game is that if drivers aren't accepting these rides, then Lyft will start paying out more money. Yeah, that's partially true, but at the same time, you're not going to get a lot of these drivers to do it. A lot of people are thinking that the more rides that they do, the more money that they're going to make, and the better the offers are going to be, especially the newer drivers. That's why these apps love bringing in newer drivers, because they know that these people do not know anything about how the algorithm works. And they know that new drivers, when they're not seeing good payout rides, then they're going to start to think, you know what? Maybe if I start accepting more rides, I'll get more money. That's not how the algorithm works. But that's what they're going to think before they ever go to a YouTube video to learn how to drive or why the prices or payout is so low for the rides. But again, everybody is entitled to their own opinion. I just hope that a lot of people listen to reason. I'm looking at this one comment right here. It says, I reckon it's more to do with it cycling through multiple drivers. I never thought of this, but maybe we should be letting it go till it's almost 1 or 2 seconds. That's not what we need to be doing. What the guy, I don't understand what the rideshare driver guy, whatever, is saying. It doesn't make sense, and it is not going to make sure that you have a good end game at the end of the day. It's not going to make sure that you have a good day. That time frame that you're taking and waiting, or you letting it time out, it is going to hurt you at the end of the day. That was nothing. That was just another scammer. That's why it says invalid error when I sent the automatic message. But anyway, like I said, love to see drivers try to come up with creative ways to get Lyft to pay more money. There's only one way, and that is for drivers to log off whenever they accept a ride, make it your last ride. If you do that, the algorithm will start to send out higher payouts to drivers for rides because they don't have enough to fulfill the rides. Make that ride your last ride. Okay? Not only that, but you can also wait a little longer after you finish your ride. However, one driver doing this, it's not going to change anything. It has to be a common practice for all drivers. For all drivers. And Lyft, they can't go public and tell you guys to make it your last ride. And if there's no available drivers, then the algorithm will send out more payouts, higher payouts and bonuses and everything like that. And here's the thing, what I don't understand. Drivers should know this by now. They should know this by now, that when there's an increase of ride requests, then their bonuses being shown. If there are less drivers than there are riders, then there's bonuses being shown. So why is it that everybody's not logging off and making it their last ride? Why are people not doing that? That's what doesn't make any sense. Start doing that on a mass scale in each market, then we'll see a difference on what they're offering for rides. I mean, come on, when it rains, when it snows, there's going to be less drivers out, and we see more bonuses. It's just common sense. Like, why is it that people are not talking about this? But at the same time, it has to reach a lot of drivers. A lot of drivers have to know how this system works in order for this to actually start paying out the way it needs to. This is also going to be one of the reasons why when autonomous cars really get into every market, they're gonna set passengers up. They're going to let them know that the availability of drivers, cars are lower because X amount of cars are needing to go and be recharged. X amount of cars are have mechanical issues and they have to be fixed. X amount of cars are damaged because of a passenger throwing up in the cars, etc. So there's less cars on the road, and this is going to draw up the price. Software malfunctions, all of these things are going to draw up the price. So just because autonomous is going to come in doesn't mean that the customers are going to save some money. They're still going to be screwed. They're still going to be screwed. Thanks, please like, share, subscribe.